Ready?
Ready? Unmuted.
We are live streaming and recording right now.
Let's call this regular meeting now to order this morning. Good morning, everybody. Good to see everybody on 5-1. I know everybody goes to be on Friday. We'll get started. Facilities, this is, many times, so I'll turn it over to you. See.
All right, good morning, everybody. Great to see all these smiling faces. One thing that I will not include in the public facilities discussion is a discussion about a kitchen. Out of this facilities update. So, Councilman Brown and I'm looking, Councilman Jackson, almost called him Bill. I apologize. Councilman Jackson and I, we have met 2 times with both and the administrator to discuss the space needs. Some of the takeaways from yesterday highlight where we are with our facilities as well, which is we haven't focused on fixing a facility or building and constructing a facility correctly. We have over the years used Band-Aids and co-occupied spaces to continue to make do with what we have. The needs continue to increase. The growth of both the fire department as well as the police department demands additional space. So we started by looking back at the facility needs assessment from 2017 or 18. From that report, we really determined that we need a lot of additional square footage for our facilities. To prioritize this, based on the information we received, we identified that the police headquarters is probably the #1 priority for a town facility if we're going to build a new facility. The second priority is the fire headquarters, according to the needs. And then the third would be the court facility. In order to do those things, we would need significant capital investment. We would need a decision that we were going to do it right the first time and follow through on that decision from a council standpoint. And if that were the case, we talked several scenarios. One of those scenarios to start off was to identify a piece of property to temporarily relocate the court so that during that time, the operations at Town Hall could function more normally. That would be one piece. Another item would be to explore the property that we have currently with the town, town-owned property, to start in construction and planning for the police facility. All of these hinge on having a funding stream. We have no funding stream for this work. I'm open to other items. The next bullet on here is the property discussion. That property may be a location where we could move the court initially, and then start our planning for the police and fire headquarters. But at this time, without a funding stream and a dedication from council and you, sir, to move forward with a true facilities plan and build them one time right, so that and build them for the future, so that we don't continue down the path of kicking the can down the road. So as a body, our only recommendation, and gentlemen, I'm looking at you to make sure you concur, is that we recommend that we do find funding construct a police headquarters the right way, plan it and execute it properly. From there, we'll build a court facility, hopefully nearby, very likely nearby. And then we will refurbish the existing police and fire headquarters into a fire headquarters. We do it the right way, one time. We don't have to continue to have studies and discussions and ad hoc committees. But the town is growing, the needs aren't going anywhere, and our folks are currently working in closet space. And I don't think that's appropriate for the town of Somerville. Gentlemen, anything you'd like to add?
No, I don't know if you want to throw out some of the options we talked about. One, Trey had a great idea yesterday. Where they are. Move downstairs out somewhere else. Move the building and permit people over to Dominion to get a drive-through. Paying fees and stuff possible. Another idea is police and fire need training space for their academies and all. Police have nothing right now. If we put up a Butler type building that looks decent over on Lincolnville property, we can move the courts over there, build police, and then, or build the courts, whatever, and then move the courts out, and police and fire could use that Lincolnville property for training and all. And it's particularly good for the canines because it's wetland. And one other idea.
I know there was some additional adjustment that could have happened at town hall temporarily. It required coordination with the police chief. That is a potential. All of that is to kind of make it while we pursue doing it the right way. You know, how do you make it over the next 5 years, which would be the fastest we probably get a police headquarters done. If we start today and say this is it, it'll take us probably 5 years to get into it. So we just need to recognize that while we have interim needs, you know, maybe the property that we're going to discuss in the next bullet is perfectly suited for a temporary location. It's an area where we could improve the property, but we retain the property versus improving the temporary space that we don't retain. So we didn't give you much. We need a funding stream, and we need to execute a plan, do it the right way one time, or else we're going to continue to have this discussion year over year over year. And maintenance costs are going to continue to go up. Space is going to continue to be cramped. And it's not the caliber or professionalism that I think matches our employees.
The main thing that you mentioned that caught my ear was the fact that we need to identify, try to identify what's the cost to the police station. We're talking about band-aids as far as moving things around to make sure that the coast can function. We need to be focusing on what we're going to get money. Big thing.
So the cost from the preliminary study on several options, we're all over $30 million to accomplish what we need to do the problem. So those are the cost estimates from the previous study.
First of all, thank you and the committee for the work that you've done so far. It sounds like it's more work to be done. 30 million. Wow. Our biggest need has, I think everybody said this probably today, like I got here before, our biggest need is the police station. It's got to be public. Chief Aaron just said, building the police station, his needs are met if he gets the money. If we get the old police station, as you said, expanding it, so it's obvious that's the direction you go. the next thing on the agenda is the menu bar discussion. There are a lot of moving parts on that. But it just seems to me that the most efficient thing, it's minor, it's the least expensive to begin with, probably the least urgent of the three different types of facilities. Just seems to me that the more efficient, the easiest thing to do is just to resolve the court issue. The court stays right where it is. If we get the menu property or not, you can move people eventually out of the downstairs to Town Hall. And the Town Hall is this before. Like that saves a ridiculous amount of money, so we can go find some money for police station.
I think we can expedite it, save some money. Chief Wright can find a police station that's already built. Minor changes too, and that kind of shortcuts the engineering. And he can talk to whoever's in that building that, what wouldn't you do? They probably made mistakes. And that would expedite things a lot quicker too. I know Lisa mentioned the fire station in some small town. You mentioned the fire station in some small town. When we saw it, it was like, I'm somewhere.
No, I was talking about the police facility.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where was that at?
It was Pineville. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a statement piece as you drove into the city that.
We're not lying to South. I missed that.
First of all, the committee has been amazing. Captain Touchberry, Brown, Jackson, Beach. Obviously, Lisa, Richard, we worked a lot on this. But to put things in perspective, just we're talking, you can't get into the wheelhouse of talking about money or anything until you understand where we stand. And Captain Touchberry knows very well, especially with his expertise. But several police departments built and opened as an addition to the fire complex in 1989. That building is 14,400 square feet. Should have built for the next 30 years. And it was built for about 35 police officers, employees. And what's important to understand here is we're building for the next 30 years now. So with all the projections and myself and my team, we work really hard to try to get an idea of what does that legal look like. So there's a couple formulas that we have found, and I'm sorry if you're on the committee and you've heard this before, but I think for the people who were not on the committee or who follows the live stream, just to understand, so you know what it is you're actually voting or discussing, debating. We spoke to different architects that build police departments, and you're right, Councilman Jackson, there are 100% builds that you could just get all the planning and blueprints and we could just put it there. Ideally, I want it to be something that's red brick, something that looks like the feel of the town and the downtown historic district with the white wood and the red brick. But there was two formulas that one of the architects used that built 23 agencies, municipalities around the United States. The high end is 607 square feet for the employees, and the low end was 133 square feet. The average was 347 square feet per officer. And the other formula was to build 1 square foot per resident. So once we have 40, 54, 51, or 50, we would be sitting today at between 50 and 54,000 square feet today, as we said. We're in 14,500 on a good day, 17,500, because we built offices inside of closets, inside of conference rooms. So this complex for the next 30 years, if we're at 52,500 square feet right now, what we should be, is going to probably need to be around 97,000 square feet. There's going to be office space that'll be empty for probably the coming years, but that is how it works when you build something for the future. And I'll say this just to kind of echo what I said, and I think the first ad hoc meeting, you know, as a committee, as a town, as a group of people here sitting today, we're all going to be either dead and gone for the next 30 years, or we're going to be retired on the beach like Councilman Jackson's been enjoying, and he much deserved. But are these people in 30 years will look back and say, these some really dumb people that put this plan together? And I don't want to be a part of that legacy. I think we all need to look at, we're working for the future. We want to look the part, we want to be the part. So I say all this in understanding that, again, the same opening statement I said yesterday, I know everybody in here just hates hearing Doug Wright talk about the police department, but we have been living and working under demise for many, many years with smiles on our faces. We don't, and Councilman McIntosh will say this, we don't ever have 161 employees on the roof at one time. However, if I have to have a meeting, where I have to have all hands on deck, I don't have enough parking right now to even have that. Thankfully for Chief Waring, he allows us to use his fire stations that are without doing the town. He has training space and parking space, and we're allowed to use that. But in a situation like that, we don't have that capability. And that's just one hurdle, one of many, many, many hurdles. So I just want to put that in perspective. If you haven't followed along or even heard it from me for the first time, you'll hear it again. And Chief Waring, he's been very, very gracious in what he's willing to accept. But I not try to speak for him, but what we've discussed is the fire department, if they were to move into the 14,000 or 17,000 on a good day square feet that we're in, some major renovations in that area, they would be able to move a lot of their fire academy, what they do out on Yancey Street, their training, the indoor training part of it, classroom training, they can move that over to 300 West 2nd North Street. And that's big because they're kind of decentralized by having people in different locations. And I don't want to speak too much on his side, but I just know we've discussed that, and that's been a situation that I think everybody here kind of understand where we're coming from.
Just a thought, I respectfully do not agree with Councilman McIntosh on leaving the court where it is. I do think it needs to move, may not be able to move, in which case it will stay where it is, okay? But I think if maybe in executive session, a further discussion on the Dominion building and funding, potential funding sources may be a more appropriate place to talk about that. And I've got some information to share on that may help facilitate some of these conversations.
Yeah, everything hinges on that.
It's as easy as a funding source.
Yes.
That's all we need is money. What's the problem?
So do you want to talk about the Dominion property now, or would you rather, we do have the availability to discuss it in executive session, if you'd rather have any further
I think
discussion?
discussing it in an executive session along with funding,
Okay.
potential funding opportunities is a better place to do it.
Right. Councilman Texbury, did you have anything else that you wanted to add for your report?
Nope, thank you.
Okay.
Lots of questions, few answers.
So next we have the parking garage discussion, and Russ Burnett is going to give you some information on that.
So earlier, or last year, I contacted Carolina Town Parking Group to give us a quote on buying equipment to be able to charge parking in the garage. And they did send me a quote, and I think that package. Computer, you go through it, but it provides opportunity for merchants to buy monthly discount packages to be able to park in the garage, come and go, using the RFID readers for town employees and town vehicles. But I guess the question is, do we want to start, begin charging parking lot garage before we go into this. With that question, just a few numbers to throw at you. Over the past 3 years, annually, the parking garage costs about $57,000 per year just for maintenance. Paying light bill, just routine maintenance, that's what we budget, that's what we're spending.
How much,
Every
Russ?
year, $57,000. In 2020, someone actually ran into the elevator on the bottom floor. Cost us about $30,000 to make that repair. As you know, this year, we guys just approved $128,000 to remove for some concrete spalling and some maintenance repairs. So over the past 3 years, we've spent about $329,000 on that parking garage. It comes out about $110,000 a year, or about $9,100 a month. Parking garage has 218 spaces. Approximately 100 are taken up by town vehicles and town employees on a daily basis, Monday through Friday. That leaves about 118 spaces, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. Breaking that down daily, those available 118 spaces would need to generate $2.58 per day to cover that 3-year cost of $329,000. So that's about what every space, and that number is a little bit lower because you're not counting evening events where people would use it to pay, or weekends where people would use it to pay. So that number is a little inflated, but it's a good number to go from, to start from.
What was that number again?
$2.58
Per space per day.
per space per day.
And that was just on the 118.
That's a 118. So that number, like I said, evening and town employees aren't there, so it frees up about 50 spaces. Weekends, about 50 more spaces. So it's more like $2, a little over $2 a day. Each space would need to generate to pay, to maintain and keep that parking garage functioning.
Of course, again, depends on what happens with Dominion and other potential moves, but at some point we could possibly get the number of town vehicles in that garage down significantly.
Yeah.
Maybe even down to 0.
Possibly. But the equipment to do it, again, charging, if we choose this equipment, is $135,000. That quote expired on April 12th, so we need to get another quote. I don't expect it to be much different than the 135. We need to be invested, install, and begin charging. The system that we were quoted is the rates can change pretty easily. If you say we're trending high in the numbers, it could adjust the rate lower or vice versa. So it's easily changed. The rates have changed. So that's kind of where we are. We just need some decisions on what we want to do.
And so, I mean, obviously it doesn't involve hiring anyone, but do you foresee more man hours being spent? I mean, who maintains the equipment?
So the town staff would be trained on how, obviously, the finance department would be involved with collections of the funds. Town staff would be trained on, and police and fire would be trained on how to overcome if there is a malfunction, to let somebody in or out the gate. Even after hours. But, I mean, there are going to be glitches like anything else. We just got to work through them. And
My biggest concern is that the glitches get thrown back on us. I would love for us to explore the idea of leasing the parking garage to a private entity to run our parking garage. It doesn't sound like from the numbers that that's an attractive thing for a business, but I could be wrong.
yeah, I haven't looked into that.
I'd even, we might have to do some legal work from GW's end, but I would consider selling the garage if somebody would buy it. I foresee, I think at some point we got to do, we have to move in the direction you talk about. That's if we're going to some $1,000 a year to take the garage and not get anything out of it. And there's some minor things that I've been saying for years we should do. I think we should, Flower Town Festival weekend, we should get every single town car out of there. It should be $20 a day to park in the garage. And do that. I mean, that's something we could have been doing for years. But I see the phone calls when somebody can't get out. Somebody who's been on Short Central or West Richardson at 2 in the morning and can't get out of the garage. Those would be fun phone calls for somebody.
Yeah, and
Well, they'll get out.
And we could, I mean, we could open the gates after a certain time automatically. So, I mean, there's endless options of how we manage the payments and how much we charge. We can limit the daily rate to whatever you want to limit the daily rate to. City of Charleston, they charge $4 an hour. I think there's a max daily rate.
It's high.
It is high, yeah.
I think it's about 18 was. Yeah, maybe higher than that.
Might be,
And that's a major income source, Charles.
That meters,
I think it's one of their bigger incomes. Yeah, I think we need to move in that direction.
What direction?
In charging for it,
Charging.
well, perhaps you
Period.
have to start with that.
finding a way that we don't pay for it.
Finding a way to what?
We don't pay for it, be it lease or charge.
break even.
At least break even, yeah.
So do you want to pursue buying this equipment? Or?
I think that's the simplest.
I think so too. I think it would be faster to do that than to find a place that if they wanted to lease it for their own business. I mean, equipment cost $135. And I think we can charge either close to what Charleston charges. I think it's a good idea.
And then just figure out a way to give the local merchants passes, buy a year pass or whatever.
Discount, yeah.
I mean, is debit card only or is it cash involved?
No cash. It's debit or
Debit
other ways to pay for phone and stuff. You can buy a monthly pass if you're a regular partner. But there's no cash involved. It's all like.
We'll go back from that too.
There would, but we just gotta work through it.
I think it needs to happen. We need a funding stream to maintain it. It's not sustainable.
And I don't think we can get $4 an hour or even $18 a day, but if you're able to get half that.
I'd recommend we start out with $2 the first hour and $1 for every additional hour. On top of that, max it out at $10 a day. Start there and adjust accordingly. So we need to fund the funds to pay to buy this equipment.
I was just gonna say, do you have any funding available in this year's budget? Because we have not programmed it in next year's
I
budget.
know that.
So do you have any source
Not
for
really.
this year?
I would look at my building and grounds, but. Always fund balance.
All right, well.
If I knew I had audited numbers of
And
what
there's
was
also-
in the fund balance, I might be willing to do that today.
There's hospitality fund balance. I don't know what's there.
Well, that's.
It's something we can look into. So,
Because we built the garage, it's hospitality taxes.
well, very few things that we're gonna invest money in that we get money back from,
Yeah, so you would see
So-
that money hopefully over the next.
other than our people. Okay, so everything else is a cost.
Except Parks and Recreation, Amy's got a good thing going.
Yeah, I know.
Keep it up, Amy.
So I think it's something we got to find the money to do.
We built the garage with H-tax, and we got the money in fund balance. I assume that question would be whether the revenues go back to H-tax,
You can get it out of H-tax and just
pay it
yeah,
back.
pay it back to H-tax and put it in H-tax.
Once we pay it back, what do we do?
We'll pay it back to H-tax and then put it in the fund balance as we generate revenue after it's paid back.
Do we is the maintenance that we do come out of H-tax as well? the money we just spent, then we got to
I
know
don't
that.
think so.
I don't think you can. It's operating. Isn't
Maintain
Yeah,
our
but
general fund.
but you could pay for that.
it? But- I don't,
Well, what we'll do,
I
I
don't think
think,
we
is
can.
bring it back to finance and then have that funding source identified and then authorize a PO for you. Will that work?
I appreciate striking while the iron's hot. but I don't think that the item on the agenda would allow us to.
I guess during that time, we need to decide what we're gonna do with merchants. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of discussion to be had on how do we do certain things within the town. But I would probably, I'd probably charge a max of $12 a day. I agree with the $2 for the first hour, $1 hour after that. Up to 12, but got to stay a pretty damn long time to pay $12. I mean, in Charleston, you're staying there about an hour and a half.
Long night of the days.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody comes to Farmers Market, you're not there more than an hour, hour and a half. Somebody comes third Thursday, you're maybe there 2 hours.
And would we be offering a discounted rate to perhaps merchants that are downtown? Okay.
Yeah, this package comes with 250 yard by the bars. Obviously, we put those on county employees and county vehicles first, and then we can buy more and offer all merchants who wants to buy. Monthly pass.
Or even yearly pass, so it's no hassle.
Right, yeah.
Well, it's. I'd have to think about that.
I think we have.
On how much we're giving away, other than to where we've got to park our cars. Because if they don't park there, they're gonna park on the streets. The merchants are gonna be ticked because you're taking up the street parking that's in front of their store. They park.
Yeah, they park
Right.
right on. store.
So,
Those that have the back areas.
This equipment takes, I've got the crew is 8 to 10 week delivery time, that may be longer now, but I'll follow him after we make a list of the purchases.
Mr. Mayor, I think we're ready to, we're making record time today. I think we're ready to talk about miscellaneous items that have been added from either the standing committee or council meeting.
Right.
Yeah, so the first, that's what we're going to talk about right now.
Yeah.
So first is discussion authorization to renew the Trident security contract with an hourly rate increase. Leave the Beth, is the contract included in the?
You want me to go over anything?
You might want to just-
The current contract ends May 11th, I believe. We can go month to month following that expiration date. So if you choose not to make a decision on this request for hourly rate, we can just go month to month following the expiration date in mid-May. But the vendor has requested a rate increase from $18.66 an hour to $19.96 an hour. And at the finance committee meeting last week, the committee decided to take this up following the presentation of the budget at the retreat today or yesterday. So here we are.
Sure that we keep Lenny and Smile.
There's no assurances of who they assign us. No,
There are no assurances, but Mr. Bill, Lenny Bill, and Billy Thompson have made it very clear that they wish not to go anywhere else, and Trident Security would prefer to keep them right where they are. And the officer in the annex building feels the same way. So they have left our officers alone. They do rotate other ones at other locations throughout the area, but have left ours alone predominantly because of the way our staff treats their officers. We have welcomed them in as part of the town hall family, if you will, and the officers are happy. We've been happy.
They also have a great rapport with their visitors.
They do.
That's smile.
Sit back on the back of the stairs. He's asking you, and he's visiting, he's come. He has nothing to do. Sit. Then he works his borough.
Well, the old town hall certainly has far more traffic coming in and out of it. Mr. Anderson does, they all do, they all walk both buildings, the garage and around in the parking lot area on a regular basis.
I said that, mean, councilman built that building. That's fully designed. Building between two. Any. Two entrances coming to town hall building. Crazy.
Well, we have locked one entrance in the annex building. It stays locked at all times. And the flagpole entrance to the old town hall building stays locked at all times now.
Two entrances stay locked and
That's true. That's true. Two entrances in the annex do stay locked.
so what, this is about, what, $6,000 a year additional? You said it went from 18 something to 19 something.
I don't have that figure. It's about a 7% increase.
We talked about that. You know, of course, the 7% doesn't go. All of it doesn't go to the people we like that are assigned to us, but
I would say 6,000 to 8,000. I did do some rough calculations, but I don't
I
have.
mean, I just figured $1 an hour, $3 an hour times 8 hours a day is $25, $125 a week, $500 a month, 6,000.
that's some fancy cipher. A lot of times, a lot of
Just the way my brain. It's screwy, but.
Let's get McIntosh's point, that percentage increase is not going directly to the employee. The cost of the employee overhead burden on the allied and the profit that they're trying to make with their business. So.
The
this
breakdown
seems like a
is-
very low and affordable price in today's market to have contract services.
The
I'm impressed it's still under $20 for contract services.
the current rate at $18.66 an hour, I believe they make $12 an hour, 13 maybe, depending on longevity, but they started out at $11 an hour. There's 3 of them. Is running around, again, this was rough. I didn't check with finance, just what I was figuring. It was somewhere around $107,000, $108,000 a year.
I had one guy set up there, I don't know, that's the-
Um,
Doug, what,
Being honest, what?
what did you put people doing the same thing for?
2 Chiefs ago, we had a police officer sign that that will be a police officer. Police department, he was moved over there for some reason. It allowed him to be retained wearing our uniform, which should not have happened. And he was making over $50,000 a year and sat on the scale the entire time. So having 3 for 107 helped with the deal.
All Johnson, the whole police officer.
Yes, sir. They have price agreement for, I think it might be allied to handle the court office as well. They don't have to solve.
They've got plenty of police upstairs, of course, but when you walk in the front door of City Hall, it's private. Spend more time there than I.
Was this small $6,000 increase factored into the?
It wasn't, I think.
Yeah, I think we gotta do it, but it's hard to do that. And give them 7% raise when they're talking about giving out employees.
So will there be, are y'all looking to make a motion to approve the contract or?
I think that people are waiting on somebody else to make a motion.
I think we need to agree to the contract.
We got to have a motion.
I think we need to go ahead and sign the contract. Make a motion that we agree to that before.
And the issue on the floor,
Now we're gonna vote against it.
discussion.
I think we had the discussion first.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, likewise. Come on.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Aye.
Goody whack.
Thank you.
Giving other people's employees a 7% increase and our employees 2 or 3% increase.
I agree.
I don't think we need a person in the annex. That was a fight under another council, another mayor. But, the former mayor was big on feeling secure in the town hall. He was worried. That's something. It's constant thought.
Probably was good cause.
I'm not there.
The next 3 items on the agenda, I believe they were all sort of related because I think they're all being considered for Parks and Recreation impact fees. The first item is the purchase order for also consideration of installation of lights on the pickleball court and also discussion of you all saw yesterday what the fund balances were for Parks and Recreation. Got $400,000. $401,000. Yes, sir.
Actually needs.
Cuthbert, which portion to fund Cuthbert from impact fees. What was the cost estimate for that?
It's we have 650,000, but that really is just a guess at this one. We really don't know.
Well, I'll make the motion to vote on the purchase of the Blanchard machinery. In once.
Motion made and seconded. Any more discussion?
Well, the motion, I guess, is to count them and vote together, and second, so that's what's on the table. I think before spending this money, all that's engaged by the pickleball mafia. No, seriously, I mean, it's the hottest thing going, and there are a lot of people in town using pickleball courts. How's that? You know, I had a lot of questions about the 111,000 for the track loader, but my understanding is these funds really need to be spent and to spend some of these funds on customer center, able to at the time, is my understanding. That's accurate.
Excavators, trackers. Taking each year. They go out there to glass and they can- they can do maximum work and save time.
That's what I was gonna ask, if it could be used in another department.
Yeah, well, they do. They work together. Any other discussion? All in favor, please, aye. Likewise, ayes. We can wait till we get it. On that?
No, sir. We just really need council to decide what they want to do with Cuthbert. I do have a very short presentation, if you guys don't mind me sharing that with you guys. But do you mind pulling it up? Don Brown and I went out there earlier this week and just kind of looked at that building very quickly, and I just wanted to kind of share some of the issues. I know this is in the report. Cuthbert, we've been talking about Cuthbert for over a year now. And I just wanted to bring the picture so that you guys can all see the issues, but the frames of the window is failing. Beth, we're just gonna scroll through real quick. This shows the brick is actually separating from the building. And this is just example of the siding. Other places, the rot, it's throughout all over the building. The flashing is exposed. And then this is a picture of the kitchen. You can't really see it, but there's several places where there's cracks in the countertops. It's just very dated. The equipment there is really old. When you walk in that building, you can smell the mildew in the building. This is mold on the ceiling. You can see the mold in the light fixtures. It's everywhere in the building. So those are some of the things that you can just walk in and you can just visibly see. But
That is in pretty good shape.
no, it's not. There's a lot more that you don't even see that I couldn't take pictures of. The electrical, the main cutoff for that building does not work. We can't even turn the power off to that building. But the electrical is all out of code. We can't touch it because if we touch it, we have to change everything and redo the entire building. So the electrical is in desperate need of repair. We feel confident if we try to repair those windows, we're gonna have to replace the siding. Once we take that siding off, we feel confident those studs are gonna be rotten, which means we're gonna have to reframe that building. And once we start, we're basically gonna have to rebuild it anyway. In 2021, we had 79 paying rentals. With the rate that we're charging, that equated to $20,475. If we rebuilt this building, the market rate for a building this size is over $1,000. So even at $1,000, that's $80,000 in revenue that we really should be making. The floor, if you go in there right now, there's spots when you walk, you'll feel the floor give. We replace sections of those subfloor about every 15 months. It's a $15,000 repair. So when you look at our
our revenue for that building is only $20,000 for the year. And we're putting 15,000 in just to repair the floor, and then the staff cost for cleaning it, maintaining it, the toilet paper, the trash, bags, everything that we put into it, it's costing the town money to operate this building at this point. I feel that it would be fiscally responsible to take that building down. And then we just need some direction from council, whether that is the answer. We just simply tear down that building, or whether you guys would like to rebuild it. If it's rebuilt, I do believe, with an increase in rate, it is profitable. It can support itself. There are a lot of places that have a nice building that they're renting, and that we certainly can as well. I do think we could potentially use, especially if we're changing the building some, increasing the foot, we could potentially use some impact fees. We could certainly use hospitality fees. It is a major asset for the Flowertown Festival. So I think there's a lot of different funding opportunities for it. So that is my spiel. If you guys have any questions.
Yeah, I think what we're making on it, liability coming from safety, I think one, we need to close it now and tear it down. And it seems to me that I agree with Bob. I mean, I think my opinion is we ought to go about it, tearing the building down. It's a longer, deeper discussion. How do we replace it? When do we replace it? What do we replace it with? But the building being there, condition that it's in, is.
Window's not a problem. I remodeled Ronnie Gibbons' house around the corner. What I just saw in that building looked great compared to Ronnie Scott. That material. Big cost. We tore the whole floor system out of that cottage, and we tore the walls out of the cottage, the floor system is gone. So we raised it up, and I thought it would fall down. I wouldn't wait. We got one out there. That's a cheap, this cottage is probably built in 1800s. Strong stuff. Mr. Berlin had somebody rebuild that since I've been working with them. So it rolled down. Started to push right down. Somehow it will. Sometimes it's cheap. No, that cottage is not that cheap. In this case, it's not going to start with what that meant.
We have to, for our properties, we have to get video approval.
Yes, yes, we do. I'll take that down in-house, right?
I think it's gonna come down real easy.
During Bill Collins.
I really did. I thought you might want to do it for training.
Drywall went on and said it was 5 years and redo it. That was a long time ago. I mean, functionally, the building was never that functional. I'd like to see concessions to serve to the outside and bathrooms available from the outside also. And make it a community building.
It has been a fixture for quite some time in that location, so I hate to see it go. But with that, it has to have an emotional attachment to a lot of the residents. Is there a nonprofit that aligns with either the tennis court or Zimmer Park, where we could work together with them to build something with the nonprofit? A fundraising capital campaign type thing, get the community involved to save it.
So that building, we had 79 paying rentals, but we had just as many, if not more, non-paying rentals. It is used by so many different civic groups, the Flowertown Garden Club, the Somerville Youth Athletics Club. There are a lot of people that use that building. I don't know if they have the funding, but I do believe maybe we could get a sponsorship. Maybe if we would consider approaching certain businesses, they may be willing to sponsor a project like this potentially.
Understood, Councilman Cutcliffe, say, trying to save it. But we're trying-
Better to wreck it, rebuild. I'm okay, but restore it, save it, however you want to say it.
We know.
We want a structure there for the community at some point.
That it's not very functional. I mean, to have a meeting in there isn't really comfortable. Everything, yep. I've always felt like make do with the space. And as far as, historical people in the community, I guess it'd be Terry Ricky. I've never thought of that as an old, Charles Somerville building.
The building in the 60s. In my earliest recollection, it's like the first Flower Town Festival, which was 72 shows. You seem all that nice now.
Well, I'm probably the one with the most rescue. I'm gonna have to go home to tell we're tearing the building down. No, you tell her we're putting up a nicer building for the Cutcliffes. Yeah, we just don't have the money.
We're gonna find it.
Not without community support.
Well, one of the things Amy is working on is getting a nonprofit for Parks and Rec. Totally.
Friends of Somerville.
Yeah. So that's being discussed already. And maybe if the nonprofits don't participate, they don't.
And just to make council aware as well, so we've already stopped taking reservations for 2023. However, I don't think we're going to get to 2023. So I do think we're going to keep evaluating that building. We will probably have to choose a date where we will have to cancel reservations in the future. And any of those that we can, we'll try to push over to the Doty Depot building and try to accommodate those groups there. However, that building is used just as heavily. If you look in May and June, both buildings are rented every Saturday and Sunday, with the exception of Mother's Day and Father's Day.
Maybe we should help on some teachers. No, I do hang grenades.
That was my second council.
Right. My second council meeting is selling the huge laws. Real estate, down Somerville and real estate investment.
I guess I'll make a motion that when Dawn says the building is unsafe.
There's not an entryway there.
Maybe you don't want to realize.
Well,
What Amy is saying is that she might need to set it down sooner.
well, that's not, okay, we can send it to the BAR, get permission and then.
So shut the facility down.
I think they go to BAR, get a demolition approval and then. We're gonna want to use it. I mean, it's not just in the town. So
This hazard right now, people that can use, mom can go down there, this people. Decide whether it's hazardous.
The problem is, biggest problem is entryway there are guardrails, proper step lines.
And with that being said, I think
I think we.
I don't know that we have a choice.
I make a motion. that we close it down.
Thank you.
Amy?
The only thing I would say is that we take reservations 1 year in advance. We're coming up on graduation season. There are a lot of people that have had that building rented for the last year, anticipating being able to use it. I was hoping to get through at least the end of May for that reason. I understand if council decides to close it immediately, the issues are there. There's-
Move it over the wall.
I would have to look at the calendar and see what's already scheduled at that facility. It would be a case by case basis with the groups, whether we could or could not accommodate
I
them.
mean, I hate to put a push, but we just been told.
I was gonna say, the first time they could get on the IR would be beginning of
Okay, then let's do that.
Richard
Yeah.
can also go down there, and, then go down and make it unsafe for firefighters. Yeah.
Say July 1.
Yeah, but I guess I want to do that, but my concern is we just publicly said it's unsafe. And yeah, but
Yeah, we didn't know what we were talking about. We discussed.
Yeah. no, I mean,
I think we have to put people on notice of condition. Give them the opportunity to know that not. Full notice.
Yeah.
Of the condition of the building.
Well-
If we shut down, it's not one.
Yeah, well, in conjunction with that bill, what we can do is those who have it rented between now and the time that we're talking about, we're gonna honor with a warning. And we're not renting it. No more rentals. No more rentals and anything beyond July 1st, we're not doing it. We notify those people of what. Is that your motion, Terry?
Well, the only problem with that is, if you notify these people that the building is unsafe, and you're still gonna let it rent, then open you up to some liabilities. I mean, they might call 999. The point of it is, I think it's better just to shut the building down and let it do it. I would not want to tell somebody, you can come visit me, that those 2 bottom steps on my porch. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Sure. You honor the ones who are already
That's all we're talking about.
make commitments, and that's different.
yeah, that's all we're talking about.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm saying that even those, why say that the building is unsafe and you still let you.
I would foresee Mr. Parker as preparing a document for anybody who uses the building to sign. Acceptance of the risk. Yeah, I have confidence in Mr. Parker. Particularly mold. I don't know if it's a danger if anybody falls through that floor. I know Amy said that the floors in horrible condition. And somebody goes in and starts claiming respiratory problems, because mold, stuff, the sun, those things are hard to that. We can certainly draw a real good way. I think Amy ought to give these people who already have rented the opportunity to go elsewhere. And if they can't, they're gonna have to sign the waiver. They're well as anybody can.
To clarify, the space that we have in Station 3, 2 months, could that take the rentals that we have at Cuthbert?
I have to check, to see what we have covered, what we have out there was scheduled already, and, you know, parking's an issue out there, with the large event.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah, I'd take a close look at it, see if I can truly check on it.
Okay. And I guess, and I
Like,
like,
the other side of that is if there was an event that was serving alcohol, I wouldn't want to have an alcohol serving event on the fire property either, so.
that makes sense.
Yes, sir.
I guess the other thing I'd like to ask is if council could give Amy permission to look for a building similar to what she would see being put there, so we can see what the cost is. Start that discussion, since we're building buildings. We have a motion. And a second. Motion and a second. What are we voting?
I was scared to ask.
I think between Amy and I got it, yeah.
We're shutting it down July 1, we're informing people the condition of the property, giving them an opportunity to back out if they want to, and making them sign that.
I vote against that. Okay. We're not renting.
I think
No.
Just the mill bill alone. Easiest thing for people to sue you.
Well, I think that's easily bypassed. Waivers, it's like, if you know when you walk in somewhere where you have an allergy to.
And also, again, so it's an invitation.
Yeah.
To something. Yeah, because that's good.
And Bill.
People love to
All right, Mr. Mayor, we had the fire station 6 on the agenda. Actually, the motion was to take that up after this retreat, so. Next, we have authorization to issue purchase order for Sanders Brothers Construction. This is for road repairs and resurfacing. Mr. Cornett asked that we add this to the agenda for timeliness and for your consideration.
Last fall, it was the CTC with a request for $941,000 for resurfacing. We bid that project. It came in around $1.6 million, about 550 over budget because everything else is going up. So went back to CTC last week, and they gave us an additional $250,000 to cover the cost. We already had $500,000 budgeted from capital for resurfacing this year, so this covers, this paves, I think, 16 town roads and 11 state roads, and they're covering the cost of all the state roads, and we're picking up the difference, $311,000 for town roads. Yeah, I'll get you a list if you want to read them. Town roads include Paget Circle, Stockbridge Street, Eastover Circle, St. Audrey Street, Wraith Road, Wellman Road, Mapleton Court, Ranworth Lane, Jarrett Road, Derricote Lane, Upturn Lane, Salty Place, McFerrin Lane, St. Bennett's Place, and West Fifth South Street.
State roads include Parkwood Drive, Germantown Road, Wiley Street, Southampton Street, South Walnut Street, Dan Mather Lane, Garden Hill Road, Peter Street, North Main Street parking area, South Oak Street, and Cypress Street.
Which road is Legion Road? That's State Road.
Sir,
Legion Road.
not on the list.
Town Road or the-
I'm not sure. So that's the list, that's the funding. Sanders Brothers is ready to go on this project if we can get it approval.
So I mean, it's just kind of a nuts and bolts question, maybe I don't want to know, but we're authorizing a purchase order coming from us for 1.5.
Correct. We get reimbursed.
How quickly we get reimbursed?
When, I'll usually send one reimbursement request at the end of the project, so usually they'll knock us out in about 2 months. So we get the last invoice, we'll send a request for reimbursement.
They've always reimbursed timely.
Yes.
I was gonna say, this is traditional.
Yeah, we-
And I hesitate to ask him this, sausage making question.
And I will say that at that meeting, the CTC meeting, they have to spend another 500,000 from state roads in the next, before September 1. Or they'll lose it, so I'm gonna help them out and come back with a request to try to spend some more of that money. Yes.
I have a motion on this. We need this now.
I'll make a motion that we approve the second. You take the rest. I am from the government, I'm here.
Signify by raising your right hand. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, likewise. Ayes, carried.
Thank you, Mayor. We actually just scheduled some time for some open discussion for council. If there's anything in particular that you all wanted to bring up or discuss. Scheduled some time for you to do that.
Discuss miscellaneous. I was told in the Oak Brook area, as part of that TIF, talking to Daniel about lighted signs like North Charleston has for the roads. And he mentioned that we can do something with money. He said to ask you about it. We can do this offline if you want to. If we can get some kind of funds he can't get.
He's probably referring to the $2 million set aside for Somerville for that area through their TIF.
We'll do it offline.
Okay.
But no, Amy respect.
I was gonna say, yeah. I would count on any leftover.
Thank you for us. Like we all want, but we'll call free farm for everything we do. But the thing they're calling about right now is our streetlights that are on violet.
Yeah.
So we're gonna call the police department and tell us that the streetlights are violet. Okay, so they were maybe violet.
Mhm.
But they got white lights. They're white, they were white, but violet now. Yeah.
There's something, I've seen them too.
Well, I looked it up and there's actually a recall of lights. They had covers were, they appropriately. And I'm just bringing it up because it looks like crap. Routed it down. Yeah, I'm not putting you on the spot, I'm just like, everybody calls the police department for everything. Trash cans all over. Past my yard. Lights purple.
I got one. I got one woman calling me about that reason. She thinks it's some conspiracy.
We got a complaint at the last meeting that nobody got shot or slammed to the
Yeah, I was
ground.
there.
You cannot win, chief.
Afraid by people about shooting and tasing somebody.
Yeah, those things
You're
are.
waiting, got mental health.
You're never gonna win.
There's no other discussion items from council.
Yeah, if we don't have any other discussion, we council can.
Can I say something before we all leave out here? Just to kind of circle back to the stuff we talked about yesterday. And I'll talk with Mark and Amy. I went on the road yesterday too, but you know, if something could be considered as far as the raising of the minimum salary for the entry level employees. I just want to reiterate that for us to be able to hire people, I'm not even getting applications right now from people for jobs that have been advertised for 6 to 8 weeks. So, and I think they're probably experiencing the same thing over here. And the applicants that we do get are people that aren't even good employees, like what you talked about yesterday, Mr. Jenkins. So it's not even people worth the town's money and our time to interview people and try to get them in the door. And just for them to turn around and quit or something a few days later, because they don't like the type of work that we're doing. So, I know it's a lot of money to ask for. I know Ms. Ron has done all she can to try to stretch the money as far as possible. But you know, if there's any way we can take something back from something else and try to get those salaries up to where we can compete with Chick-fil-A or Publix or, you know, fast food restaurants all over, especially try to compete with people that do the type of work. And yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. I think it's definitely worth trying to figure something out.
Let me ask a question on that. I think that each one of you that, I'm 100% in favor of moving from 13 to 50, okay? The second part of that, however, was if we do that, then there's adjustments to others that are in a different place from those. So those are two different things that may not be able to be accomplished at the same time.
I just want to say, Ryan, I mean, we want all y'all to talk straight with us. That's not going rogue. Going rogue is not being straight with us, so we appreciate it.
Yeah.
If 15 is unattainable, I mean, if we can get 1450, and then adjust the salary accordingly, and you 3% raise, then a gallon of milk is $5, or a gallon of gas is $5. You know, the guys that are out there working, they see the inflation rate, and it's on the news every 15 minutes. They go, so, you know, 3% raise and 8.5% inflation. It's just it's not comfortable. Asking these guys to do a lot of stuff, $13 an hour. You got guys sacking groceries, standing around there for $14.50 an hour.
Well, listen, I'm on the side. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, you know, another disadvantage you've got is when you hire people at these lower wages, and all probability they're not going to stay with you. So if they could learn what you teach them about what you're doing, and then they can move to somebody else for a couple dollars more, in more cases, they're going to do that. So it really makes a lot of sense. And I know Terry said it makes sense too. We have to think in terms of somebody who's got some longevity with us, and they're making a little bit more, and we got to make that adjustment too. But I think it's just something that's very, very necessary. We owe the residents of the town, you know, all of the employees who can do the work, and training ground for somebody that I had the money, I'd give it to them.
And I'm gonna say it, and I feel like we said it last time, we certainly have said it informally amongst ourselves, and it not happen, but I think it's gonna happen this time. I think it ought to happen every year, but we ought to have a mid-year budget meeting every year. I think it has to happen this year. So I don't want you to overpromise and under-deliver to your employees, but there may be things that you know, your department may have in January that you don't have in July. And that's just the reality of where we are. But I think I'm hoping Rhonda's correct, and that we're gonna feel a lot better when we get this 6-month audit than we did when we got the last one, and that by mid-year budget meeting, maybe the looks on our faces won't be quite so bad.
Yeah, things are just changing so fast right now that you can't make good decisions on it.
Well, that inflation might be 15%.
Or it might be 4, but yeah, I wouldn't bet the farm. You're gonna lose it to rising interest rates.
Well, I wanted to piggyback off of what Mr. McIntyre said about your candidness. As the rookie in the room, I really appreciated listening to each and every one of you. I really appreciate what you do for the town and our constituents. And I'm very impressed by the quality of folks that we have sitting around this table. And personally, that kind of beams me up with pride. And of course, we want to meet all the needs that each one of your departments have. And I just ask everybody in the room to be thinking of ways we can generate revenue, develop a strategic pathway or plan to increase and grow and diversify our tax base. Any ideas? There was a lot of innovative ideas that I heard from each one of these department heads. If you guys have ideas of ways we can do things better, please pass it on to us. And, Mr. Lau, we didn't have a huge economic development update through the budget retreat, but anything that we can do to generate additional revenue and help you at your job, please let us know. We've got to do that for our town.
Got a hell of a team.
Anybody else got anything?
I'll go.
All right, thank you all for being here. You got another.
Wait, you said?
Yeah.